I would have given anything to see Christopher Walken doing that armpit routine in the middle of Dune Part 2. Jesse Shade here for Awfully Good Movies on behalf of the JoBlo YouTube network. And while Universal has been eager to turn its movies into rides with the recently opened Epic Universe, Disney is still continuing to turn its rides into movies, with recent film adaptations for Jungle Cruise and Haunted Mansion that proved to be way less fun than the actual rides. But back in 2018, I reviewed Disney's cinematic adaptation of the Country Bear Jamboree, starring a bunch of animatronic country music playing bears as they reunite to save their old performance hall from being destroyed by a greedy land developer played by the one and only Christopher Walken.
Oh no!
Who acts alongside these animatronic bears as if he's playing Russian roulette with Robert De Niro, and makes this otherwise mediocre Disney product well worth watching, if only they had gotten him to play the Hatbox Ghost instead of Jared Leto. So let's skip the wait in line and head to the express lane to ride this unsupervised episode of Awfully Good Movies. Well, my friends, a new year of Awfully Good Movies is upon us. And for those of you who think the first month of January is just an excuse for Hollywood to dump out its crappy movies, then you should treat yourself to the acclaimed second adaptation of the books about Britain's favorite marmalade-loving grizzly bear, Paddington Bear, in Paddington 2. And since that first Paddington also ended up being a surprisingly great January release, it's good to see that our children have movies they can watch out there which don't insult their intelligence. Now, if you want another kids movie about bears that isn't quite so good, then let us talk about Disney's 2002 adaptation of The Country Bears. And yes, by Country Bears, I'm referring to the Country Bear Jamboree attraction at the Magic Kingdom of Walt Disney World. Because while Disney may have hit pay dirt in 2003 with their film version of Pirates of the Caribbean, their film adaptations of their theme park attractions hadn't done so well beforehand. There was the 1997 TV movie version of Tower of Terror, Brian De Palma's theatrical movie of Mission to Mars, and now this flick based off those hillbilly bears who could sing and play country music thanks to the magic of Disney Imagineers. But even though kids could now see the Country Bear Jamboree on the big screen without having to wait in line, the film's ass got beat at the box office by Austin Powers 3, and its bad reviews sure didn't help. And since Disney has struggled to adapt other Disneyland attractions to the big screen, then let us find out where they went wrong with the Country Bears. By the way, you will notice that the footage I've ripped off the Country Bears DVD is presented in full screen, even though the version of the movie you'll see on streaming services is presented in widescreen. But as annoying as that may be, I just think it's because they wanted to make room on the DVD for the Country Bears Concert for America TV special, hosted by Downtown Julie Brown. Hell, I think Disney should have gone all the way and had these bears join together with the Ninja Turtles for an epic world tour. It would have been the Watch the Throne tour of animatronic singing robots who exploit stupid children for money. So our film opens with a behind the music style retrospective on the career of the Country Bears, who in this film's universe are an actual country band with a legendary career behind them, as made up of lead vocalist Ted Betterhead, guitarist Tennessee O'Neill, bassist Fred Betterhead, and fiddler Zeb Zuber.
Zip zop zoobity-bob!
We see the band has been split up for the past 11 years, presumably after Zeb's romance with conceptual artist Yoko Ursa took the band's music to strange new places. Number 9? Number 9? Number 9? But the group still has a young fan out there by the name of Barry. Yes, spelled B-E-A-R. Why are you making me watch this? Seeing as he's also a talking bear, as voiced by Haley Joel Osment, who's starting to look a lot like a bear himself nowadays. You see, Barry's been raised by a human foster family since birth, and one day he asked his dad, Ned Ryerson, bang!
Bing!
Why he looks and feels so different from the rest of his family.
Mom, am I adopted?
Of course not, honey.
Even if you were adopted, we would love you as much as we love Dexter.
Maybe more.
I'm sorry, did you just suggest in front of your son that you love him less than his adopted brother? Well, if my kid ever fixed his hair like Guy Fieri, I would let him know every day that I no longer have a son! And since Haley Joel Osment has already been in a movie where he leaves behind his foster family after his brother tells him the parents don't love him, and his pal was an animatronic bear, coincidence? He leaves home to journey to the Country Bears legendary theater in Tennessee, only to find that the band's manager, Henry, is trying to save the theater from being destroyed by greedy banker Reed Thimble, played by the one and only Christopher Walken.
25 cents! Do you have change for 100?
Such is the magic quality of Christopher Walken, that in the same year he gives an award-winning performance in a Steven Spielberg movie, he can also face off against an animatronic hillbilly bear, and treats both of these performances with equal amounts of conviction.
Where you going? Come on, Frank, where you going? Someplace exotic? Where you going tonight? Tahiti, Hawaii? Do you like the sound of crunching wood? I do.
And while Henry is ready to admit defeat, Barry gets the bright idea to save Country Bear Hall with a benefit reunion concert of the Country Bears band. And holy hell, did Disney just rip off this movie's plot for their Muppets reboot movie? Well, at least Kermit just has one hand shoved up his ass, while these Country Bear puppets have to have an entire body shoved up there. So Barry and Henry drive across the country with their old tour bus driver, played by Swamp Thing from Con Air, and all the other Country Bears eventually come around to quit their new jobs and agree to rejoin the band, except for Zeb Zuber, who's now a stool-sitting booze hound in a dive bar. Except they serve honey instead of beer. Ha ha ha, alcoholic bears are hilarious. And its bartender, Queen Latifah, won't let Zeb rejoin his bandmates unless he pays off his tab by winning a musical duel with the bar's house band.
But if he loses, I get to keep the Country Bear tour bus.
And with none other than Brian Setzer leading the house band, how does Zeb stand a chance of winning this battle of the bands?
I'm hereby challenging.
Fuck a beat, I go a cappella. Fuck a Papa Doc, fuck a clock, fuck a trailer, fuck everybody.
Meanwhile, Barry's parents think the Country Bears have kidnapped their son, thanks to a misunderstanding with some doofy cops, as played by Tommy from Galaxy Quest and Oswald from The Drew Carey Show.
So what do you think? Kidnapping?
Yep.
Is involved in the abduction of this 10-year-old boy. Police also...
Mr. Berenstain, how much would you pay to release your grandson?
Nothing.
But the most important subplot here has got to be Christopher Walken preparing to destroy Country Bear Hall, with a scene that is pure cinematic gold. The man dances around his office wearing boxer shorts and bunny slippers, while footage of buildings and bridges being destroyed plays in a loop on his TV, and he begins to smash a bunch of constructed models of Country Bear Hall with an anvil he drops from the ceiling.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Country Bear Hall has been crushed!
Man, wouldn't it be great if Christopher Walken used that line of dialogue in some of his other performances?
Oh no! Oh no!
But even though Walken's performance is nothing short of wonderful, he is criminally underused in this movie, and takes the backseat to these talking, singing bears, who actually have some impressive credentials behind them. Their animatronics are done by Jim Henson's Creature Shop, while the original songs are written by beloved singer-songwriter John Hyatt. As for the group's guitarist Tennessee, and their female keyboardist Trixie St. Clair, their singing voices are provided by Don Henley from the Eagles and Bonnie Raitt.
Joy and happiness.
Now how can this possibly get any better? Holy moly, that's them watching from the audience. I mean, sure, the kids watching this movie are probably wondering what the female villain from Super Mario Bros. And Ty Pennington are doing in this movie, but they're pretty clever cameos. Unfortunately, the songs themselves are instantly forgettable, and some of them aren't even country songs, but rather modern pop songs sung by Christina Aguilera afterbirths, which sound like commercial jingles. Kick it into gear with some double mint gum, ow. And am I the only one disturbed by the fact that they use regular human eyes on these bears? I know, it's just like they look in Disneyland, but I keep thinking what happens if one of these bears accidentally eats a rare steak and finally tastes blood? Will their eyes turn over black like Bruce in Finding Nemo, and they start going full-on Revenant on some motherfuckers? Plus, it doesn't help how realistic the fangs look on these goddamn bears.
Trixie!
But as overwhelmingly bland as it is, the movie's got some clever jokes here and there, like how we find out the band's former promoter, played by Mo Green from The Godfather, is now in such bad financial shape that he's using a display table in a department store rather than an actual office.
That's ours.
Right.
Still, even though jokes like that make this movie way better than it ought to be, and Christopher Walken's performance is a marvel to behold.
You mean Keith.
It rarely rises above being a piece of pointless piffle. Maybe this movie should have taken a hint from a far better bear movie, like Grizzly Man, and added some bleak Werner Herzog narration to it. And though the country bears have reunited, they still carry the burden of living in a society where their kind are hunted for sport by humans. Such is the cruel and constant struggle in the life of a country bear. Much like the gummy bears, you too will soon be bouncing here and there and everywhere once you play a round of the awfully good drinking game. Take a shot or drink every time they break out into another musical number. You know, I'm less focused on the song here and more focused on this keyboardist dancing in the background. How the hell did an extra from a Dolomite movie end up on the set of the Country Bears?
Bitch, are you for real?
You spot another cameo by a famous musician, notably the one by Sir Elton John.
No, he's not here. He's probably still at the country club at the wedding.
That guy looks a lot like Elton John.
Nah, Elton John's taller.
And I was gonna make a stupid joke about how Elton would know a thing or two about hanging around with bears, but guess what? The son of a bitch beat me to it!
I always hated bears.
I knew it!
Damn it, Elton John! Your self-deprecating sense of humor has defeated me once again! They mentioned Zeb Zuber's addiction to honey.
Zeb never gave up the honey. What do you say? You give up the honey and come with us.
Me and Zeb opened up a can of honey on the roof of the White House. We had a great time.
So if Disney is suggesting that honey is to bears what beer is to humans, then that must mean that the Winnie the Pooh series is actually supposed to be about a hopeless alcoholic.
Empty again. Only the sticky parts left.
And take a double shot when Christopher Walken utters the greatest line of dialogue in his career.
This is not over! Bears!
And mind you, that pause in his dialogue was not intentional. Christopher Walken really did get distracted for a second and forgot his dialogue.
This is not over!
Hey, wait a minute, that bear with the jacket looks a lot like Marlon Brando. He wouldn't sink his career that low, now would he? Oh, wait a second, I forgot my line. It's, oh right, bears! And on the nudity watch, well, we're dealing with a G-rated Disney flick here, so we don't have any nudity. But we do have one of the bears punching out his brother bear.
And you're going.
Which is sort of like that scene in the Wicker Man remake where Nicolas Cage punches out a woman while wearing a bear suit. Which is sort of like that scene in Hercules in New York where Arnold fights some guy wearing a bear suit. Oh look, let's just cut to the clip where Lou Ferrigno's Hercules throws that bear into space. We all knew where this joke was going, guys. We're not stupid. On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Boulder Bruce, the Country Bears will make you wish Disney made a movie of the Carousel of Progress instead. And this ride comes to a complete stop of 5 out of 10. As for me, I'd rather see Disney make a horror movie based off that new Donald Trump robot they just installed in the Hall of Presidents.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut!
I'm Jesse Schaefer, JoBlo.com, and I'm sure Disney can find another life for the Country Bears. After all, if they could turn a failed movie like Newsies into a Broadway musical smash, then what's stopping them from giving us Christopher Walken in a one-man stage musical of the Country Bears movie? Howdy y'all, I reckon my name is Zeb Zuba.
JoBlo, he sure likes to drink a lot. JoBlo watches movie like the hero man. JoBlo, he's...
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.